Helping the committee with the questions?
All I know is there's going to be some good questions, and I'm pretty sure that we're going to learn things that we didn't know yesterday.
Look at you. We're doing all this for transparency. I ask you if you've been helping them with the questions, and you don't just say yes.
I think a lot of people are helping with the questions. I think a lot of people are throwing out ideas because look, we're in new territory.
All right, guys, welcome to the Vetted Podcast. Another beautiful Monday here in July. It's going to be a wonderful week. We have the UAP hearing happening on Wednesday, July 26th. I know everyone is looking forward to this. It's all the rage and all the talk all over Twitter, Reddit, right? Wherever the UFO community is. It's literally the only thing anyone's talking about. And for good reason. It's all over the news. Mainstream media is covering it. So we're going to be playing some clips of different news segments throughout the podcast.
We're not going to bring you in a saucer or a little green man. That's not what it's going to be about. And I know y'all, every time you play this interview with one of us, you play the theme from X-Files. I get it. But the reality is the American public deserves to know. And you better be careful about a government that doesn't trust its people, because there's no telling what they'll pull on you.
We're also going to be talking about some comments that Sean Kirkpatrick made over the past week. They were sort of contradictory, so we'll look into that and find out what's up there.
Is it possible there is some secret program that you're just not aware of?
I don't think so. I have access to anything and everything I need.
And then also we have a new episode of Vetted coming out tonight. Very excited. It's got the first part of our interview with Avi Loeb. I do a deep dive on the UAP hearing. And a deep dive on Sean Kirkpatrick's comments. So without further ado, let's jump in. Got Sebastian with us. Amy is out again this week. No problem. So just Sebastian and I running the show here. What's up, Sebastian? How you doing?
Hi. Great. Yeah, no, very, very exciting week. So tell me, Patrick, last week we were discussing you going to Washington potentially for this hearing. So is this happening or not?
No, we're going to do a live stream. Great question, by the way. We're going to do a live stream of the hearing on our YouTube channel. I'm going to be on there adding commentary, answering comments, trying to bring it all together, right? Anything that's happening. So if you need a place to watch the hearing, join me. That's where we'll be. There'll be other people there, nice little community, and we'll be, watching the hearing live. There's going to be more hearings coming up, so potentially I will go to one of these. The issue really became I couldn't finalize the exact details of where this hearing was going to be until too late, to be honest with you. Like they didn't even put it on the website till right before the weekend. So even though they had confirmed it earlier, it wasn't official. So we'll be live streaming it. It's going to be great. How long it is, I don't know. Few hours, couple hours. There's 3 witnesses.
Starting 10 a.m. Eastern, right?
Yeah.
On
10
Wednesday.
a.m.
I just
Eastern.
have the congressional oversight sort of committee website here in front of me.
Yeah. You know what? Let's just start there and pull that up. I sent 2 of them, right? I sent sort of the press release, so you can see what it is. But I'm just going to read a little bit of the press release here of this hearing.
Do you just before you start, do you have the building? I'm not sure if everyone is familiar with the building. The Rayburn House office building is this massive building with those pillars in front of the main entrance. It's huge. It's like a massive building. Look it up online. Maybe we can show a picture. So this sort of, obviously there are like thousands of rooms in this building, but do you have any idea of how big they expect it to be? How many guests are expected? Is there any clues?
Not that I've seen. I don't know. I don't know those details. How big the room is, if we're going on past hearings, it will be the size of a large conference room at a hotel.
Yeah, right.
That's
the
what
place,
I've
for example, where Mark Zuckerberg gave his, testified.
It could be in one of those bigger, spaces. That is possible.
Right. Yeah. So this is really a huge. I mean, this is how seriously they take it, right? It's a huge building. It's definitely not some sort of small venue. Some sort of side room, like
Yeah.
like this is
No,
a big
no.
venue. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. No, this is serious. I mean, this is
Stage,
legit. Yeah, this is legit. This is on the main stage. Everyone's jumping on board. Again, bipartisan effort here. Democrats, Republicans, everyone is just coming out to support this. But yeah, let me read just a little bit of the press release to give kind of a more general understanding of sort of what's happening. So again, yes, it's Wednesday, July 26, 10 a.m. Eastern, 2154 Rayburn House Office Building. It is open to the public, but you will have to go through some like security issues. The three witnesses are Ryan Graves. He's the executive director of Americans for Safe Aerospace, but he is also an ex-Air Force pilot who has witnessed UAPs. We have retired Commander David Fravor. He's a former commanding officer of the Black Aces Squadron in the U.S. Navy, otherwise known as Top Gun. That's right. He led Top Gun. This is literally Tom Cruise, who's one of the witnesses. And he famously, it's been mistakenly reported in the news that he shot the Tic Tac video. He did not shoot the Tic Tac video.
Commander David Fravor. He's a former Navy commander who shot the famous Tic Tac video that you've seen. It's on YouTube. It's 60 Minutes did a special on it.
He was an eyewitness to the Tic Tac. He's the fighter pilot that witnessed it and chased it in his fighter jet, but he did not do any of the recordings. Those were other people in the Navy. So just to be clear on that in the news, I know the Congress people are saying that he filmed it. He did not film it. And then last but not least, I think the witness that everyone's looking forward to the most, at least in the UFO community, David Grush, former National Reconnaissance Officer, representative, Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena Task Force member, and member of the Department of Defense. Remember, this guy, briefed the president daily. He's the guy that said the most outlandish claims, right? This is the guy saying we have a secret crash retrieval program. We have alien bodies, alien spaceships. There's been murders, those claims that we have extensively covered on Vetted.
If you're telling us the truth, everyone, the entire American public has been lied to for decades.
Yeah, there's a sophisticated disinformation campaign targeting the U.S. populace, which is extremely unethical and immoral.
You are saying to the human race, for the first time, an official intelligence representative at a high level from the US government is saying publicly, we are not alone.
We're definitely not alone. Absolutely, the data points empirically that we're not alone, yeah.
So I'll put a link in the video to a video that I made called Let Me Fill You In on David Grush. It's a nice 20-minute video of just all of his claims, his history, how the interview, his famous News Nation interview came to be, and blah, blah, blah. So check that out if you want to learn more about him.
Talk about Top Gun. I mean, definitely they should invite Tom Cruise because, I mean, as you know, Scientologists believe in kind of aliens, right? So they have the extraterrestrial ruler of the Galactic Confederacy who brought billions of his people to Earth, right? I mean, he's the right guy.
Tom Cruise is like, guys, hold on a second. We're having a meeting. I got it all right here. They're Thetans, guys. We know everything. That's funny. We've already met with them.
These are the times now, people. Okay? These are the times we will all remember.
So the hearing will be open to the public and press, and it will be live streamed online. Again, we'll be also live streaming it through this. So if you want to add the commentary to it. This is it's put on by Representative Anna Paulina Luna from Florida and Tim Burchett from Tennessee. So they're the two main people getting this together. And I'm just going to read one quote here from Tim Burchett, and then we'll move on to a different part of this. The Pentagon and Washington bureaucrats have kept this information hidden for decades, and we're finally going to shed some light on it. We're bringing in credible witnesses who can provide public testimony because the American people deserve the truth. We're done with the cover-ups. Dadgummit. I added the dadgummit. He didn't say that, but he says that all the time.
And we're going to get to the bottom of it, dadgummit.
But haven't they said that before, like multiple times, stuff like that? Now everything will be revealed. Now everything is going to come to life. So I mean, I have to say, when I read the guest list, I was disappointed that, I'm more about the names that were not on the list. I mean, the three people, it's going to be interesting, right? Sure, for sure. But I mean, namely Luis Elizondo. I mean, I was hoping for him to be there. I think there were rumors for him to be there, but
so look, I think we all want to know: do you think any government has recovered a crashed UAP?
So what I've said for the record, which is unfortunately all I can say, is that it is my belief that the United States is in possession of exotic material, and unfortunately, that's about all I can say at this time.
It then didn't materialize for some reason. What do you know why?
No, he did tweet about it though. So he tweeted about it and just said, like, look, we're still in the fight. So check out Lou Elizondo's Twitter. He does tweet about it, and they're still in the fight. And he mentions like there's more hearings to come. So he's basically insinuating that he will be testifying at some point, but these are the first three to testify and lay down what they've said in public record. So they may even say all the things you've heard them say, but they're going to do it on public record. And to be honest, there's a lot of controversy going on whether or not they'll be under oath or not. So,
all right,
and whether that matters, and if there's still repercussions either way, whether you're under oath or not. Apparently, the House rules are if you lie to Congress, whether you're under oath or not, there's repercussions, right? So it kind of doesn't matter, sort of thing. But anyway, there's no, I tried to find that out over the weekend and nobody can confirm. I was told by one person that they're not being under oath. And so I haven't been able to confirm the other way around. But yes, Luis Elizondo, I did a poll on our Twitter and he was the number one person that they chose to that they want to see testify. Is him. And the other one, if funny enough, is Bob Lazar. Like, here's your chance, Bob. You've waited your whole life. You got whistleblower protection. People are testifying. And what does he do? This guy backs into a corner into the shadows and he says, I don't know. He goes, I don't know the UFO community anything. I'm not testifying. I don't know these people. Wait a second. What? I mean, what a load of, I'm sorry, but if anybody believed that, just goes to show his story was totally full of crap. Again, not saying there aren't real UFO stories. I'm saying, but that guy's was never real. Anyway, it's just odd that he does not want to testify because he doesn't owe anybody anything.
Do we know how they selected those witnesses, or how they were invited? I mean, I heard you shared another tweet with me where you said, for example, someone of NASA had been invited, but they declined to appear. So I assume they invited lots of people, but then only these three really agreed to appear. Yeah.
Okay, so great inquiry, great question, Sebastian, because this is a good portion of the hearing we should discuss. So yes, so as far as how the witnesses got chosen, I know that behind the scenes, and I've seen in other interviews, Jeremy Corbell and a few other people helped bring these whistleblowers to Congress and help decide who's going to testify and what questions to ask them as well. So
these are historic hearings. We have never had this in the congressional setting, direct eyewitnesses, people that can be asked the right questions under that setting. I helped set them up. I helped find and connect those people.
Helping the committee with the questions?
All I know is there's going to be some good questions, and I'm pretty sure that we're going to learn things that we didn't know yesterday.
Look at you. We're doing all this for transparency. I ask you if you've been helping them with the questions, and you don't just say yes.
I
Just
think a
say
lot
yes.
of people are helping with the questions. I think a lot of people are throwing out ideas because look, we're in new territory.
But the representatives, Luna and Burchett, they claim to have reached out to NASA and the Pentagon to see if they wanted to be a part of this hearing. And they also claim they went to some Air Force base to get some information, to hear from some witnesses who would potentially be testifying as well. And they say that they got pushback on all this. So NASA claims that they were never invited and all this stuff, right? That they got it confused. So you know what? Let me read that NASA tweet, because they came out and said, oh, they're not helping us, right? That's what the rep said, Burchett and Luna. NASA's not going to help us. They declined to come to the hearing. And NASA put out a statement in response to that. And they said, NASA was not requested to participate in the United States House Committee's hearing on UAP. David Spergel, president of the Simons Foundation and chair of NASA's UAP independent study, was invited, but declined to attend, since the work of the independent study team is not due to be completed until later in the coming weeks. The report will contain a series of recommendations for NASA to better evaluate and categorize the nature of UAPs. And then they put a link. You can learn more here. And I'll share that tweet so y'all can see that and check it out. But yeah, they're basically saying, like, you invited this one guy of NASA and he declined, but he doesn't represent all of NASA. So they went out and said NASA declined. You know what I mean? So there's some nuance there to what's to what's going on.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me if they don't want to attend, because they could be easily put on the spot there, right? I mean, they could just be asked, can you confirm what this person says, yes or no, right? And then what are they going to say, right? So it's easy for them not to attend, right?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think that statement seems very likely. Like, oh, there's the nuance. They asked this one guy and he's like, well, I got a report coming out. Why would I go to this hearing and reveal what's coming out in my report? Right? Like, this doesn't make any sense. Y'all do your hearing. We got ours. So whatever, I don't know. And then the representatives also, there's some controversy about a trip they made to Eglin Air Force Base, where again, they were supposed to go. It was Tim Burchett, Representative Luna, and Matt Gaetz as well. We're all supposed to go to Eglin Air Force Base and interview a few pilots who had seen UAP activity, and they were also going to be shown documents, photos, videos of some things. Like, they had a briefing set up. Well, they went. Apparently, they got turned down and left with nothing, basically. And they came out and said, we got stonewalled at the Air Force Base, blah, blah. Well, the Air Force Base put out a statement as well, saying, like, let me see if I can find it. I may not have saved that. Oh, no. They basically, I'll put it on the screen. I'll try to paraphrase here. They basically said what happened was, when they went to the briefing, only one of them, Matt Gaetz, had the right clearance to hear everything in it. So that's why they denied the other two people access. They said, oh, you guys don't have the clearance to hear this stuff. He does. He can stay, but y'all two have to leave. And they were like, it's either all of us or none of us. So they left. And then they came out and said, well, we didn't get to see anything, So I don't know. Who do you believe? I don't know. I guess that's up to you to decide if, does that sound fishy? It sounds likely to me, to be honest with you, that was the case. So, yeah.
Things, right? I mean, there always seems to be something, throwing like spanner in the works, right? Spanners in the work, for some reason it doesn't work, somebody hasn't got the right clearance or whatever.
Yeah.
It seems very frustrating. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, 100%. There's more controversy around it. Tim Burchett, who is putting on the hearing, he claims to have tried to make some sort of amendment to add in for like whistleblowers and UAP, investigation and whatever. And he claims to have been blocked from being able to put that amendment on a House vote floor, like on the floor to be voted on the House, excuse me. And this this representative, Jim McGovern, I'll put the tweet up as well. He basically came out and shut that down. So it seems to be happening a lot here where, right, these reps are saying this happened, and then people come out and go, well, it's not exactly like you said. It's more this happened. And that keeps happening a lot. And I don't know how good that is for the UAP community and the people behind it, because they keep getting like shown up. So basically, Representative Jim McGovern said this. He said, the problem is that you submitted an amendment and then you voted for a rule that blocked your own amendment. That's why no one had a chance to vote on it. That's how this works. And then he put a link to the rules where you can read how that works. And I did look into it, and it's very confusing. It's a word salad, but that's basically the case. Tim Burchett, he unknowingly did it. Like, he wasn't on purpose, but he basically submitted an amendment to be voted on, and then over to the side voted on them shutting down all votes for amendments. Does that make sense? So he like didn't really know what he was doing. So he voted on that, and they were like, well, okay, we're not looking at your thing you just submitted because you just voted to not look at it. So he kind of got caught like, oh crap, I didn't mean to do that. And then his response back to him was like, okay, yeah, I made a mistake. You never made a mistake before, you know? So like, that was kind of funny. But yes, I don't know. They showed some like slides and different images that they're going to be using at the hearing, right, Sebastian? And I got to be honest, it did not look promising, man. I mean, it looked like children's artwork. It looked horrific. Like, wait a second, that's what they're going to be showing? Like, nobody was pleased with that. I shared a thing on Reddit that went, viral on Reddit, of people just completely amazed that that's the information we're going to be showing. Hopefully everyone's like, oh, hopefully that's not it. That's just like her stuff. That they got something else prepared. But when I
say, I mean, like, as you are sort of elaborating now, that there's been a lot of skepticism. I mean, Mick West, he put some, he sent some tweets where he said basically, Fravor and Graves have already told their stories countless times. Grush is not a first-hand witness. People have told him stuff. Unless he's going to name names and hangers, then what we are going to get from this hearing. So this is from Mick West on his Twitter, right? So, yeah, I mean, there's definitely, to put it mildly, doubts what this will actually lead to. I think it will really depend on clever questioning, right? So, the question, but it's always like, it's some of these celebrities outside the UFO space, right? Often you read an interview with them and every single interview is exactly the same because all the questions are the same. And I think a good interviewer is someone who can extract some other information from them because they have a different way of questioning. They ask new questions or they ask questions differently. So hopefully, this will be the case at that hearing so that we get some new stuff out of it, because otherwise, what's going to happen, right?
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And yes, there's definitely some doubts from people. Mick West. I will add some caveats, and nothing against Mick West. I just don't think he knew this. And I'm not saying it matters, but it is a fact. David Grush has said in an interview in a French paper that he did an interview there. He actually does claim in that interview that speaking of asking a different question, that journalist asked a different question and he answered it. David Grush has actually seen things with his own eyes. He just can't talk about it. So he is but that's not been known. It's like, well, come out and say that, dude, because everyone's thinking you're everyone just told you guy, right? But actually he says he has seen stuff. He just can't talk about it.
Right.
So that's interesting. So maybe that's what they need to ask him and press him on in this hearing, right? So that would be new information for us to hear from him, is that what have you actually seen? Now, to be fair, again, I'm just going to play devil's advocate here, but I can also see the argument of, well, this is the first hearing. Again, they've done all this in podcasts. They've done all this all over the place. Let's bring it to one place, have them say the exact same thing again, but on the record. And now let's start to build this record, right? So I can understand if they come in and say everything the same we've already heard, but the setting is different. The stakes are different. And now we're going to build this record right, of UAP witnesses. So I could see them this first round being kind of less fireworks and more just setting the stage, letting these three people who have told their story all come to one place, get it all under one roof, right? They've told all these bits all over the place. Let's bring them to one place and have them tell all the bits together. I don't know. Would some new information for those of us that follow this be nice? Well, of course, right? That's we're all waiting for the alien to be carted out, at this point.
That would be great. But I think you're right. I mean, and I think we need to be cautious here, right? Because I mean, the democratic process, the political process, and Congress, obviously, they are known for taking forever to do things, right? I mean, it's
exactly.
like, it's not a dictatorship where someone can say, puts like a knife to your throat and says, well, you're going to spill the beans now, or that's it. It's not, it's complicated, right? It's laborious. There are meetings, committees. And you're completely right. I think the fact that this is happening at all is already promising, right? So even if nothing is revealed at all, the fact that it happens and that we might get used to these sort of meetings, and then more meetings come up in the future, that are more will have more results, or will give more answers, will provide more answers than this first one. I think that's what we should expect.
Yeah, that's a great point.
I think it's better to have very low expectations and then be surprised maybe if it turns out to be more revealing than it's most likely going to be.
Yeah, I agree. No, I couldn't agree more. Absolutely. I mean, maybe it's not a good idea that the first, UAP hearing with whistleblowers, they don't just immediately go for, we have a secret program. They're on Earth. They've killed humans. They're going to attack us. They've murdered us, right? That's like, well, maybe we shouldn't go level 11. Maybe we shouldn't turn it up to 11 right away. Like that's going to like, holy shit. Wait a second. We went from 0 to 120 in 2 seconds. Like, wait a second. We went from we're completely alone in the universe to holy shit. There's this whole thing going on. That may be too much for people to sort of,
I think so too,
you know what I mean? Take in and be like, you know what? My BS meter is going on. So I'm not even going to listen to any of this. Right. I don't know. I'm curious what David Grush is going to say. I got to be honest. That's what I'm most curious about. What part of his claims that he said in the interview on News Nation is he going to make on the record right here? Right. And granted, I know that he's testified already under oath to Congress privately and provided evidence and all these things, but we don't know what that is and what it's been said. Is it equal to what he's been saying in interviews, or is it different? Is it less? Is it pulled back? Right. When we have a saying in Texas, right? When the rubber hits the road, right? So it's like when the rubber hits the road, does he actually still say the same things? Or is he pull it back a little and like, well, it's actually this, right? You can be maybe a little more hyperbolic in your interviews, but when it comes down to like actually testify on the record, is he still going to say, we have all these same things, basically, like these same claims? That's what I'm most curious about. Or will he word it differently where it's like, well, that's a lot different, dude, than what you said in the News Nation interview. Now that you're here in front of Congress, like that's a lot different than what you said, XXX, right? So that's what I'm most curious about. I think the other two pilots are going to give pretty, same stuff they've said, right? What they saw, this, that, the other. It will be great. It will be nice to have on the record, but yeah, all eyes are on David Grush. Tell us what you guys think in the comments that are watching, listening. Who do you guys what do you want them to say? What do you want them to come out of it? Who do you wish was testifying? I'm curious. Who are you looking forward to most? Where do you think the bombshells are going to come from, if there'll be any? Yeah, I'm curious. Are they going to feel like they get enough time to talk? You know what I mean? Like the witnesses, are they going to feel rushed? And
it's very interesting. It's very
interesting. It is, right? They've got to ask the right questions.
I know someone who was a witness at a congressional hearing like that one, not related to UAPs at all, something completely different. And he told me it was absolutely nerve-wracking. You know, he couldn't sleep nights before. He was nervous. Was feverish.
Wow.
He had wet hands and everything. You know, because I mean, imagine. I mean, it's the United States of America. You know, it's a huge building. It's very important people, right? I mean, the pressure is just like enormous, right? I mean, it's not being in someone's, you know, in someone's lounge or living room and answering question to one journalist. It's this huge machinery, you know, the whole apparatus and the government with all its force and might. You know, it's really intimidating. You know, so
Yeah.
so one must not forget that. I mean, I admire. Of course, I mean, you know, you could be cynical and say that they are just like attention seekers, right? So they like this big sort of audience and the big stage. That's true, maybe, but I mean, it's also, it takes some courage, you know, because it's definitely not to be underestimated.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a great point. You know, one thing is playing basketball with your friends in the back court, another is being on the court in a stadium with the playoffs and, you know, down by 3 in the fourth. Like, yeah, you're right. It makes a huge difference, the stage that's set. So, you know, my friend and I yesterday were talking, and he is not into UFOs at all, you know, like at all. But jokingly, he's just like, man, what do you think that guy's doing this weekend? Like David Grush, like, right? Like, what could he possibly, like, what do you do? Yeah, I mean, exactly. Like, are you grilling out? You're at Cheesecake Factory with your friends. Like, what could you possibly be doing to relax before you go in front of the public and say the craziest claims that we've probably ever heard in a congressional oversight hearing, right? Like, it's how do you prepare for that? How do you get all your notes lined up? Okay, crash retrieval program, aliens, right? Like, okay, murder, got it. Okay, let's cover these points. I mean, that's a lot. Like, and if he believes that to be true, is he living his life like it's true? Like, wouldn't that just change your whole world to know that that's real? I just, it seems odd to me. I think that's usually a sign for me if someone's truthful about this kind of stuff, is like, how are they living their life? Are they living their life like that thing is real? Because it just doesn't seem like people are, or people do, you know. One thing is to believe it's true, another thing is to like know for certain, you know. I don't know. So anyway, it is quite interesting what's going to happen with this. Again, it's the first of many. There's many more to come. Everyone's getting involved. There's more politicians who are jumping on board. I will say this is a little bit of a worry for me, is that these politicians are just using this for votes. You know, they see how popular it is online and on social media when they post stuff about it, and people support them and love them. And, you know, I think you got to be a little aware of that when you're, you know, paying attention. Like, are they really out to like find the truth, or are they just like know that people are very responsive to this and this helps me look good? You know what I mean? So I don't know. Doesn't matter. Can it be both? Can they have the intent to want to, but at the same time, well, it gets me votes too. That's a nice bonus, right? So I don't know. Just something to think about.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. So I don't think I mean, we don't know what their real, I guess, what their real intentions are, right? So
yeah.
I guess that's the way, and that's the way, right? In Washington, you know, if there you know, if it doesn't help someone to get votes or to get reelected or get, you know, gain more power and influence, they wouldn't do it probably, right? So I mean, I think it's the only way to achieve anything there, right?
That's kind of a good point. Yeah, it's part of the system. Again, that's why I asked, like, would it even matter? If we get the truth, does it matter if they did it because of votes? Like, would we really care if they really brought out an alien or we got to see a spaceship? Would you care how we got that disclosure? Does that matter to people, the path to disclosure? You know, that's an interesting take, to be honest. That'd be an interesting conversation to have, to really pull that thread. You know, the means to an end, right? Because the opposite of that is that's supposedly what the government has done, right? They have supposedly done whatever it takes to keep the secret, to keep non-disclosure, right? They're willing to kill people, apparently. So the opposite, are we willing to do whatever it takes for us to get disclosure, right? Are we willing to go do whatever, break laws, kill people to find out if aliens are real on this planet, right? That's an interesting, I don't know if I've ever had that conversation before. How far will people willing to go to uncover this secret? Do you become just as bad if you're, you know what I mean? It's yeah, it's tough. That's a tough.
Yeah, I think these are good questions. I think for this first initial hearing, I don't think there would have been any other way to make this happen. If not, somebody can somehow benefit from it and can get something out of it. At least they hope to get something out of it. But I mean, as we said before, right, this is just maybe the beginning of the process, and somewhere you just have to start, because otherwise it's going to be that sort of paralysis that we had for the last few decades, right, where really nothing has been happening. So something is happening now. I think we need to be pragmatic, at least at this stage. And hopefully it doesn't require unethical behavior to get to the bottom of this, right? But I think remember the American Revolution in the end was started because people throw tea, into the
Boston Tea Party,
Tea Party, right, into the sea, right? So it wasn't, and then it sort of developed into something completely different, right? So I think often things like this, I don't want to call it a revolution, but often things like this start maybe unconventional, and then something else. People think they have it under control, and then they lose control, and it snowballs to something completely different, right? So I think this is the way it starts now, and let's see what will happen afterwards.
Yeah, it's a great point. Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's what everyone's just kind of like, what is going to happen on Wednesday? How big is it going to be? What's the ripple effect? Is all of media going to be talking about it? Are we gonna? Yeah, there's so many questions in the unknown and speculating about it. So I really, guys, in the comments, please tell me. I'm curious to hear some ideas, some thoughts, some feelings, some, what you think's going to happen.
Are there any safety concerns, by the way? I mean, are people concerned?
It's a good question.
Somebody might use this to silence people, to
sure.
That's
great question.
Yeah,
it's a great question. Absolutely, great question. Yeah, great question. I mean, look, there's people that think, if you talk to skeptics like McWest or whatever, right, they just think this is nonsense. These people are nonsense. This is all ridiculous. And that, maybe it is being used in some way. Maybe there is a security concern. For sure. It's definitely worth thinking about. Sean Kirkpatrick. This is pretty interesting. So we have covered Sean Kirkpatrick on Vetted. He's in the first couple episodes. He's the head of Arrow, the All Domain Resolution Office, right? The new program set up by the Pentagon to study UFOs, right? And there was a hearing in April 19th, 2023, where he states that, Arrow has found no evidence of extraterrestrial activity, blah, 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 yada, yada, right? I used that clip in Vetted. And during that same hearing, he admits, he just says that he basically doesn't have all the clearance he needs. He could use a little more clearance to get to other avenues and to other things. This congressperson asked him, and I'll show that video here in the podcast so you can see it.
Can I ask really quickly,
Sure.
do you have the authorities you need to extend your collection posture between agencies or branches of the military? Because that seems to me to maybe be a sticking point. I know my time's just about up. I'd love to follow up about your risk management methodologies for some of these, but do you need any authorities that you don't have to get the data?
There are some authorities that we need. We currently are operating under Title X authorities, but we have good relationships across the other agencies, but having additional authorities for collection, tasking, counterintelligence,
That's something.
those are all things that would be helpful, yes.
Is it possible there is some secret program that you're just not aware of?
I don't think so. I have access to anything and everything I need.
So the first video will just show him getting asked, hey, you know, do you have all the clearances you need? Do you have, you know, and he's like, yeah, you know, I need some more stuff. So we'll play it and you can see it. And then recently, literally 3 months later to the date, July 19th, 2023, he's doing his very first televised interview on ABC News. And the interviewer asked him, we'll play the clip. So the interviewer asked him, you know, are you sure you're not being hidden anything, you know, whatever, like they're hiding stuff from you or something, you know? He's like, no, I have access to everything. So people construed that as, well, wait a second. Before you testified under oath, like that you needed help, like you had Title 10, but it would be nice if you could get more access to be able to look further into things. And then you tell this reporter 3 months later, you have access to everything. Now, granted, the point I make in the vetted video that's coming out tonight basically is, okay, he could have, maybe he got the access after that hearing, right? So he has the access now. But then you have to ask yourself, okay, so in 3 months, he was able to research and look into every single UAP case, right? That would give him that access, right? It's like saying you just got a backstage pass and you get stopped and you're like, yeah, I checked all backstage. I checked it all. Well, wait a second. We just gave you the pass. How did you have time to go around and walk everywhere? Right? That's basically what's happening here. And that is odd. I got to say, that's an odd comment. It seems contradictory. Is it? I'm not claiming it is. I don't know. Right? It
definitely sounds contradictory. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, definitely does.
So, yeah. And you know, they pointed this out on Twitter, and I thought that was interesting to do that. Because again, he also said in that hearing, we have no evidence of extraterrestrial activity. But in the same hearing, he says, I don't have all the access I need. So you just admitted in that same hearing, without knowing, you told us there's no evidence of extraterrestrial activity. And at the same time, you told us you don't even have the keys to all the doors to go check everything. So
you can't make that statement at all, right?
Yeah, you can't have both. So then how are we supposed to believe there's no extraterrestrial, like, you know, whatever? So it is, again, the odd thing about Sean Kirkpatrick is, and watch episode 1 that I bring up, is that all the other past UAP task force heads, so Luis Elizondo, Colm Kelleher, David Grush, David Grush is Sean Kirkpatrick before Sean Kirkpatrick. You know, he had that same position. So they're all saying that we have stuff. Sean Kirkpatrick is the only one saying we don't have anything. And again, in the same breath that he says we don't have anything, he says, but I also don't have all the keys to go check everywhere. Well, okay, then. Well, wait a second. Then don't say the other statement. Say, up until now, with the access I haven't seen anything. I would like better access so I can definitively say that. That's what he should have said, because it does leave you open for this criticism, which in my opinion, it is justified. I'm not trying to, you know, I speak for a living too. So I mess up on my words a lot too. I'm sympathetic to that. But these are like written statements that are looked over by staff and put together. And, you know, it's a whole mission statement and movement. You would think they would retract it, correct it, or had it right to begin with, or maybe they didn't think about that. You know, but
yeah,
how
it's
would
odd,
you not?
Sure, it's odd.
I don't know. It just seemed odd. I don't know. It's like every time people point and go, "Oh, there's a big conspiracy over here," and you're like, "Oh, you're just tinfoil hat. You're being crazy." And then you go look, and you're like, "Well, not everything they said is true, but there are a couple things off that they are right about." And that's the threads that people start pulling that seem odd. So who knows? Anyway. Yeah, that's pretty much, I'm trying to think what other story, what else did I say I was going to cover? That's it, right? The hearing, that's the big thing, the whistleblowers, the doubts. Yeah, you know, you heard from Mick West. People definitely have a lot of doubts. Stephen Greenstreet, he's not happy about it. But you know, you know, I think if Mick were here, he would probably say something to the lines of, yeah, let him testify. I don't care. Like, you know, like why would he care? What would it matter? Why does it matter to him? It doesn't. So yeah. But yeah, again, we got a new episode coming out tonight. I'll put a little snippet of it, a preview of it at the end of this podcast. Look for that brand new episode. Again, I the first part of our interview with Harvard professor Avi Loeb. And again, deep dive on the hearing and deep dive on this Sean Kirkpatrick stuff we just talked about. So
yeah, that's going to be great. And then we all wait for Wednesday.
Wednesday, yeah, the live stream. That's
live
it.
streaming. So
yeah,
what time are you going to be live? Like 10 a.m. Eastern or what?
I'll go live before that. So a good 15-30 minutes ahead of time. I'll be set up. So go to the vetted YouTube channel. I'll be posting around to share the link on that day so people can find it as well. But yes, join us on the vetted YouTube channel. It'll be our first live stream. I'm actually going to do a test live stream before that. So if you see me kind of doing so, that's what I'm doing. I'm testing it out first to make sure that it'll all go smooth and I can, you know, see the comments and have my camera, have the feed up, all of that. And yeah, we'll be live streaming that as it goes. Hopefully they start on time.
And where can people watch the actual hearing? C-SPAN or where's that on?
It will be on C-SPAN, excuse me, but you can watch it on our YouTube channel.
Go
to our YouTube channel, watch it with me. I'm going to live stream it.
Right, great.
You know, I'm gonna live stream the hearing. But if you don't want to watch it with me, yes, you can go to C-SPAN.
No, definitely. No, yeah, sure.
But yeah, I'll be showing it full. Yeah, it's a public thing, so there's no copyright or anything, right? It's a public hearing. So yeah, I mean, that's it. That's the big, I mean, that's the big news, right? I don't think there's, yeah, I mean, that's it. They're all just getting angry, right? I mean, everyone's getting pissed. The Congress people are getting pissed. Like, hey, we're getting pushback. Why are you giving us pushback? We're just asking questions. And it just makes it more suspicious. So, hey, kudos to them. Like you said, they legitimately got a real hearing together, you know, in a real building. This is a real legit, right? This is like, oh shit, this is happening.
This is as legit as it can get, right? It doesn't get more legit than that.
This is what they asked for, right? This is what people asked for. Go testify to Congress. Okay, it's happening in public. They're gonna put it on camera. They're gonna show. Hopefully people aren't thinking it's gonna be like a few good men up there, you know, Jack Nicholson and Tom Cruise. You know, you can't handle the truth. It's not gonna be like some, you know, crazy courtroom drama, I don't think. Because I have a feeling the Congress people are sort of on the side of the whistleblowers, right? They're bringing them in to testify. You know, I hope there's Congress people there who are going to join the hearing who will just play devil's advocate a little, who will, you know what I mean? Ask not just leading questions, not just, you know, ask some hard hitting questions, ask some stuff to try to catch them off guard. If they're telling the truth, it won't matter. Right. Let's find out for sure. Let's really hit them with some stuff. Right. I hope there's some people in there who, quote unquote, don't believe and kind of see it as silly and are like attacking it a little. That actually would be quite beneficial, to be honest. You know, instead of just fluff, you know, let's really hit them with some, because if nobody asked David Grush about the murders, hello. Like, he's claiming that aliens are murdering human beings. That should be the question number one. What's happening? Where is this? We need to look into that. It's quite a claim you're making. You know, and our government murdering people. Those to me are the most important questions. There's a Reddit post I'll put a link to. Man, Sebastian, this thing check this out. They're using our Reddit post in the office of the representative because it got 2,000 upvotes and everyone put their question in my post for the rep. So yeah, it's great.
We'll be at the hearing.
So they might mention vetted, which is kind of hilarious. But yeah, she asked for questions and she said, hey, you know, put them on Twitter. And then she said Reddit, and she said, I don't have a Reddit account. And I jumped in there right away and took care of that. So yes, they are going to be looking at our post with all those questions. And, you know, maybe they'll take a question from there that someone asked. There was a lot of great questions. People are pretty smart. They got a lot of great questions to ask these people.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah,
I think, I think we should say at the end, I mean, Nick Pope made a comment in that Guardian article that you shared, and he says that, you know, one shouldn't underestimate that, right? I mean, basically, takes a huge effort to get something like this going, right? I mean, and here is like bipartisanship, right? So congressmen of both parties, and I mean, I think if somebody knows how things work in Washington, right? I mean, it's really difficult to get anything moving, right? So the fact that this thing is happening, that's the real achievement. What comes out of it is almost, I mean, you know, who knows? I mean, they probably, as we already discussed, they will say the same thing that they have said on all the other occasions, right? Probably nothing new, but the fact that this is happening, that's the real news.
Yeah. Wow, what a great way to put it. Absolutely. That's a great comment to end on, for sure. Absolutely. And, you know, just thanks to all the people that, and props to them for putting this together. All the people behind the scenes, Jeremy Corbell, Ross Coulthart. There was a lot of people, George Knapp, behind the scenes that, you know, made this happen. Lou Elizondo, Chris Mellon. So they put their money where their mouth is. And like you said, the real win is that it's happening and that both parties are coming together to make this happen. I mean, last thing I'll say is, like, this is the most bipartisan topic I've ever seen in my life here. I've never seen an issue that brought people together on both sides of the aisle politically than UFOs. Like, it's crazy. Not immigration, not education, not, you name the thing, people are pretty much divided on it to some extent. UFOs, everyone's like, yeah, we want to know. That's kind of, you know, hey man, maybe that's what saves America. That's funny. So yeah, anyway, that's it for us guys. Please like, comment, subscribe, I read all the comments, I respond, you can see. So yes, please guys, give us your opinions. I'm really curious what y'all think is going to happen at this hearing and what y'all are looking forward to for that. And again, don't forget, new episode of Vetted coming out tonight. Very excited about it. Worked really hard on it, and very excited to share it. And thank you just for everyone supporting us, guys. I see it. I notice it on YouTube, on Reddit, on Twitter. We're growing our audience, and it's wonderful. So thank you guys so much for supporting us, and looking forward to these videos. And it means a lot. Keeps us going. Keeps the motor full. Keeps the gas tank full. So thank you guys so much.
Great. So, looking forward to
Wednesday. We'll find out once and for all, y'all. We're not alone. I'm going to show up to the next podcast in a spaceship, Sebastian. I'm like, yep, we did it. I got an alien here with me. Like, it's real. Anyway.
Let's see if they bring the dead aliens to the hearing.
Yeah. That would literally be.
Yeah.
Wow.
Amazing. Yeah.
Right. That would be amazing. So, yeah, that's it. Thanks, guys, for watching. Appreciate it.
Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed. Please subscribe if you want to support us. Follow us on Twitter at Vetted Podcast.